The Porsche 911 has gone hybrid, so has it been ruined? It's quite remarkable what Porsche's managed to do over the years. Now I am oversimplifying a little bit because there's actually only at the moment the GTS which has gone hybrid. Well, actually they call it the T-hybrid. So I guess if you're from the north of England, you could call it the T-hybrid. So the first thing is you don't have to have a hybrid if you don't want to. The second thing is this ain't no plug-in hybrid fatty. The weight gain for the whole system that they've added is about 50 kilos. That's not the only thing they've done. So we've got these new active aero flaps here which close up at speed, so you've got less drag. They open up when they need to, so you can keep things cool, keep the brakes cool as well, and the engine coolers. Yeah, the whole front bumper actually is slightly different. There's a new diffuser as well at the rear. There are some tweaks on the inside, including a new digital instrument cluster, a new infotainment system, and sadly no longer a physical rev counter. I'm a bit sad about that. But anyway, engine stuff, it's a bit complex. I'm probably going to forget all the facts and figures. So I think what we'll do is we'll cut to voiceover Matt and he will explain everything.
Right, you'll have to bear with me here as there's quite a lot to get through. At the heart of everything is that new 3.6 litre flat 6 which has both a larger bore and stroke than the old 3 litre unit. The twin turbos have been swapped for a single wastegateless turbo which isn't quite a fully electric snail. Instead, it uses an electric motor sat between the turbine and compressor wheels which pre-spools the turbo but only to a certain point. Now at that point the exhaust gases take over, keeping everything spinning nicely. The motor also acts as a generator, adding the equivalent of about 15 brake horsepower to the whole system. There's another larger electric motor inside the front bit of the PDK automatic gearbox, adding some 54 brake horsepower and 111 pound-foot of torque, giving a total system output of 534 brake horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque. Now that enables a 0 to 62 mph time of bang on 3 seconds. Quite fast. All of this runs off a lightweight, liquid-cooled 1.9 kilowatt-hour battery, which also powers the air conditioning compressor, the adaptive suspension system, and the active anti-roll system. The engine sits 110mm lower than before to accommodate the electrical stuff that now sits on top, and the battery is at the front of the car, improving the weight distribution to 37/63 front to rear. Got all that? Good. It's time to move on and drive the damn thing.
So, we have already been out on track to do the faster laps. The thing is with Ascari, it's just absolutely relentless, and there are some really tricky corners, so to avoid being that guy and chucking it in the wall, gone back out to do kind of some more sort of semi-fast laps where I can talk and tell you a bit more about the car. When we got back into the Carrera 2, standard Carrera, so that's with the sort of updated engine, but really it shares a lot more in common with the old engine. A bit more labour, it didn't feel as energetic. The chassis as well, it just didn't kind of feel as sort of eager to change direction. It felt like much harder work, which I think you can attribute to the active anti-roll system in this, working off of the new high voltage battery. You've got rear wheel steering standard as well now, and obviously you've got the benefit of, yeah, that livelier, oh, this guy, I hate that corner, because every time you go through it, you kind of think, oh, if I get on the power slightly early, I might get fed into the wall. This is semi-fast apparently, this feels very quick. I mean, yeah, still those kind of classic 911 handling traits remain, so you do get a bit of understeer if you're maybe a little bit too early on the power. There's only so much you can do when you've got an engine where it shouldn't be, but really, it's quite remarkable what Porsche's managed to do over the years. I'll tell you what, these new brakes, so they're actually bigger than what you get on an 911 turbo. They're mighty impressive. Hadn't had any fade. Admittedly, we're only doing sort of shorter sessions. So we're in the 4S. The 2S was a little bit more lively. But this is still plenty engaging. But yeah, that engine, lag, there is still lag. It's not completely removed from the equation. I don't know if you ever could. I mean, it'd be interesting to see where this turbo technology takes us. But yeah, it really is quite impressive just how much sort of livelier, more energetic, more responsive that engine is. I think it sounds better as well. The other one, when I got back into the Carrera earlier, it just kind of sounded a bit dull. Yeah, a bit muted. Obviously we've got extra displacement as well. That's going to help in terms of the responsiveness. Gear changes as well in this feel noticeably quicker. We have got a mix of the GTSs and the Carreras on track, and when you are in the Carrera, God, you have to work hard to keep up with the others. That said, it's quite fun doing so. We do have to bear in mind price though. 130 grand this is. That's 30 grand more near enough than a Carrera. So it's a third more. Am I having a third more fun? I don't know that I am. So, there we are. Some surprisingly fast, semi-fast laps of Ascari. That was, yeah, that was fun, but quite full on, I must say.
All of the things that made the outgoing 911 so damn nice to drive remain. You still get the most natural feeling electric power steering in the business, you still get incredible traction aided by the atypical engine placement, and you still get that unique flat six character. It's just that now you have the option of sweetening everything up with the clever hybrid stuff.
Very on brand. Well, that was pretty full on, actually. Bloody hell. I mean, yeah, I feel like I need a drink and a bit of a lie down. Ascari is a very full on place. I think a car like this, you do not need any more power than that around here. But what an impressive car. It's interesting timing, actually, the launch being this week, because it was only a couple of days ago that the new BMW M5 came out, another performance hybrid. But that goes about things a very different way. Now, obviously, a very different kind of car as well, but yeah, it's a plug-in hybrid, and that means it weighs 2.4 tons. So despite having 717 brake horsepower, it's actually a couple of tenths slower to 62 than the old car. So all that new technology, and it's, yeah, in some ways not as good as the old one. Obviously no one's driven it yet, but 2.5 tons, I think that's gonna have an effect on how it drives around corners for sure. But this isn't that kind of hybridization. This is using hybrid power to make things better, and it does it really well. I think the weight difference, obviously, you're never gonna notice that. I mean, 50 kilos, that's about the same as a thin teenager. So if you have a thin teenager, just leave them at home, and then it's, I guess, gonna feel the same to drive. But it won't feel the same to drive really, because the way it feels much more agile with sort of the standard fit rear wheel steering and the new version of the active anti-roll stuff. And yeah, that engine, it is so much more energetic than before. I'm not going to pretend it's like it's got a naturally aspirated engine, because it doesn't feel like that. It does still feel turbocharged. You do still have some lag. They haven't gotten rid of it completely, but yeah, it's really impressive what they've done. Yeah, it's using electrification, but it doesn't feel tokenistic. There's, you know, not some massive battery it's lumbering around that weighs several hundred kilos. 50, yeah, I'm on board with that. What I'm less so sure about is the price. So you're looking at about 130 grand for this compared to 100 for a Carrera. I'm in two minds, because on the road, I got in a Carrera, and yeah, it's not like there's a lot of lag in that either. It's still an excellent car to drive. But out here on the track, when you're kicking the head in, you've got to work so much harder in that Carrera. You get in the GTS with all the hybrid stuff and the sort of, yeah, clever chassis tech, and you can just go a lot quicker and have a lot more fun, really. It's maybe not as difficult. I think this kind of makes things easier in a lot of ways, but yeah, 30 grand is a chunk of change. I guess there are going to be some people out there who will want the latest and greatest of everything, and that definitely goes for people who are buying cars like this. And yeah, fine, knock yourself out, go for a GTS, you're not going to be disappointed. But equally, going for a Carrera, and let's not forget that does have changes of its own. It has new turbochargers, a bit more power. Admittedly, it doesn't feel all that different to before, but it's still, yeah, an excellent car nonetheless. And you know, you could buy one of those and pocket yourself 30 grand. But that's the great thing, you've got choice, and you've got even more choice, because obviously you can have a cabriolet like this, you can have a Targa, you can have a coupe, you can have two-wheel drive, you can have four-wheel drive. The only problem is going to be working out which one you want. As for me, I don't know, I think maybe a 2 GTS, or maybe I do want a Carrera, or do I want a coupe, do I want a Targa, I don't know. I can't work that out, but anyway, I need to go and get a plane home. So please do, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Also go over to carthrottle.com, where we've got news and reviews and features and other stuff. And yeah, bye. I think, can I take this? I'm going to take it. It won't go in hand luggage.